Starfield was just released a couple of days ago, and I've managed to sunk in more than 20 hours into the game, and my impressions of it so far is somewhat mixed. So, in this video, I will provide you with an early review, discussing the pros and cons I have discovered thus far in order to determine whether or not Starfield is worth your time. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for future content. Without any more delay, let's dive right into it. To start off, I want to talk about the graphics. The graphics in Starfield for me is pretty good, but at the same time, it's nothing really groundbreaking. There are some areas where visually the game looks fine, but then there are other places that just kind of looks flat and dull. Though I will say that my expectations for the graphics were never high to begin with, judging from what we've been shown by the trailers. Also considering Bethesda's track record of not really pushing the boundaries and delivering top-notch graphics in previous titles like Skyrim and Fallout 4. I should also mention that I have adjusted the settings on Starfield to optimize the game's performance while still maintaining a high quality visual experience. Because yeah, this game absolutely tanks your frames, which is not surprising considering how huge the game is. In certain areas, you can expect smooth performance while exploring Starfield. However, when venturing into densely populated areas such as cities or towns, you may notice a slight drop in frames. There are occasional stuttering and texture issues, but the choppiness of the game is most likely due to the specs I'm using, which I will include in the description. So, if you have an Nvidia graphics card from the 3000 series or newer, chances are you may not encounter these issues, or at least to this degree. In terms of the combat, this was one of my concerns I had before the game was released, but after playing 20 hours or so, it's actually good. Unlike the combat in Bethesda's previous titles such as Fallout 4, Starfield's combat feels more natural and seamless, especially in first-person mode.
Goodbye.
The reload animations feel smooth and satisfying, and I also find the weapon bobbing to be more realistic. In Fallout 4, the weapon bobbing felt like you had one leg shorter than the other while under the consumption of a few energy drinks. But in this game, it feels much more natural and realistic. Don't get me wrong, it's not Call of Duty or Battlefield, but it's definitely a step up compared to Fallout 4. I also really like how the AI opponents in combat behave as well. It's cool to see them retreat when they've lost a significant number of their crew members. For instance, upon reaching an enemy ship and defeating the final member outside of it, the ship takes off and leaves. To me, this adds a realistic touch to the game and makes the character's behavior feel more authentic in different situations. Speaking of characters, something that I noticed during my interactions with other AI is that the protagonist had no voice. This is most likely down to preference, but I think it's important to have a voice with story-driven games, because if you look at Bethesda's track record, their games have always been orientated around storytelling. For example, Fallout 4 is about a father who loses his wife and son to a Jason Statham lookalike. His wife gets shot in the head and his son gets taken away. As you witness this heart-wrenching scene unfold before your eyes, the raw emotion in the character's voice is palpable.
Come on, come on, come on! Oh God!
This makes you feel empathy for the character, enhancing your engagement and deepening your connection with them. In Starfield, you don't really have that. Instead, the game provides you with a dialogue for you to choose from for your character to say without actually saying it. This in turn makes it harder for me to grasp what kind of personality the character has, and therefore feeling disengaged and uncompelled to complete the story. When it comes to the characters you encounter in Starfield, it's a similar situation. While they do engage in conversations, I found it difficult to form any strong attachments to them. The dialogue itself didn't leave any lasting impression, which left me somewhat disappointed, especially when comparing it to Fallout 4. Something that I was definitely not disappointed with was the ability to customize my ship. The fact that you can change the cockpit, cowls, cannons, engines, fuel tanks, landers, and colors really make you feel like it's your own personal ship that you could use throughout the game. But customizing your ship comes at a price, and you will need to level up in order to make upgrades. This is a way the game encourages you to keep playing and progress until you have enough money and perks to do so. This level of customization is something I haven't really seen in many other space exploration games. This being a space exploration game, it offers many planets to explore, approximately 1,000, which sounds great. However, I do want to point out that some of the planets I have experienced feel kind of underwhelming. Prior to its release, I had concerns about this because Bethesda has a reputation for crafting intricately designed maps with diverse locations and meticulous attention to detail. This level of craftsmanship has always brought their games to life, but in Starfield, it can sometimes feel like a challenge traveling between places. Unlike Elder Scrolls or Fallout where you encounter different scenery every few seconds, it can feel like you're just walking on a cosmic treadmill. I can see mods fixing this issue later on, but it would be great if the game itself had more populated cities or towns scattered throughout its vast array of planets and moons. It would certainly make the exploration a bit more dynamic. Considering the realistic standpoint, I do acknowledge the immense challenge of achieving densely populated planets. Creating such detailed and populated environments would require an extraordinary amount of time and effort. Hell, I would most likely be around 80 years old by the time Bethesda completes it, who knows. Fortunately, this game has a feature that works around this issue to an extent in the same way No Man's Sky does, and that is the procedural generation of planets. As a result, each player's journey through Starfield will be unique, enhancing the excitement and immersion of the game. The vast possibilities and personalized experiences will contribute to a more dynamic and engaging gameplay for every individual piloting their ships from planet to planet. And that wraps up everything for now. While there are still more points I would have liked to discuss, I'll save those for a future video. Right now, I'm going to dive back into playing Starfield. Once I've completed it, I'll be sure to make a comprehensive review to share my final verdict of the game. Returning to the main focus of this video, which is whether Starfield is worth your time, I will say that despite the flaws I mentioned earlier, I believe that the game is indeed worth playing. While the characters and story arc personally don't captivate me as much, the immense size of the game and the rewarding progression system helps to compensate for it. So, if you are just looking to explore or into space games in general, then I do recommend playing Starfield. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed and found value in the points I've made, please consider leaving a like, comment down below on what you think of Starfield, and subscribe to the channel for more content. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.